各位记者朋友，大家下午好。
Good afternoon. Welcome to today's presser. Now the floor is open.
谢谢发言人。总台央视记者提问：1月15号，以色列同哈马斯达成加沙停火换。
CCTV, Hamas and Israel reached a ceasefire and hostage release agreement in the Gaza Strip yesterday. What's your comment? China welcomes the Gaza ceasefire deal and hopes that this agreement will be implemented effectively and that there will be a full and permanent ceasefire in Gaza. Since the outbreak of the current round of conflict in Gaza, China has been calling for an early ceasefire and working actively for de-escalation, protection of civilians, and humanitarian assistance. China supports the implementation of the ceasefire deal and will continue to provide humanitarian assistance to Gaza and make strong effort for the resumption of post-conflict reconstruction. We also sincerely hope that relevant parties will take the ceasefire deal in Gaza as an opportunity to further de-escalate the tensions in the region. China will work with the international community to make unremitting effort for peace and stability in the Middle East. Next one, please.
Recently, the TikTok ban in the United States has recently loomed large. To express their dissatisfaction, many U.S. TikTok users have flocked to Chinese social media Red Note, which became the most downloaded app in app's U.S. App Store. What's your comment?
关于涉 TikTok 的
On the issue related to TikTok, me and my colleagues, as well as the spokesperson of MOFCOM, have more than once stated China's principled position on that issue. Next one, please.
Good afternoon. A question from Reuters.
路透社，后任国务卿卢比奥在2020年受到中国制裁，他是否仍受到中国制裁？如果是的话，中方是否考虑正式在其任职前取消制裁？ On this question, we made a response before. I have no information to add.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
Just a follow-up question to my.
追问刚才的问题，尤其是小红书以及许多美国网民进入了这一平台，而在此期间，中美人为关系交流方面，外交部能否对于这一最近的趋势做出评论？外交部对于美国网民和中国网民在小红书平台上交流有何观点？
有关问题，我昨
I've responded to this question yesterday, which you may refer to. And let me reiterate that using what kind of social media platform is personal choice. More broadly, China always supports and encourages stronger people-to-people and cultural exchanges between China and other countries in order to pull our peoples closer. Next one, please.
发言人好，新华社记者提问：我们注意到中国日前向联合国气。
Xinhua News Agency, China has recently submitted to the Secretariat of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change UNFCCC the first biannual transparency report and the fourth biannual update report. The two reports give an overview of China's achievements in climate response. What's your comment on China's role in global climate governance in recent years? Climate change is a major global challenge. China attaches great importance to climate response and is one of the first countries to become a party to the UNFCCC and to sign and ratify the Paris Agreement. The two reports that China submitted recently reflect its transparency and professionalism on information sharing and showcase various dimensions of China's policies, measures, and experience in climate governance. The reports offer a glimpse of China's resolve in and actions on actively responding to climate change and deeply engaging global climate governance. China has never stopped promoting green development. In 2021, CO2 emissions per unit of GDP dropped by 50.9% compared with 2005. As public data shows, at the end of 2023, China's installed renewable energy capacity surpassed the thermal power capacity for the first time in history. China has never let up in its effort to promote global low-carbon transition. In 2023 alone, the wind and photovoltaic products exported by China helped relevant countries cut 810 million tons of CO2. Climate change requires a global response. China stands ready to work with all parties to uphold the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities, practice true multilateralism, and promote green development to protect the blue planet that we all call home. 法新社，美国总统拜登昨日要求延缓2年的项目，使得香港在美的香港居民能够继续在美。中方对此有何评论？
香港回归以来，
Since the return of Hong Kong, One China principle, one country, two system practice has been a great success recognized by all. As we speak, people's rights and freedom as well as democracy and development in Hong Kong has been safeguarded with a promising future ahead of us. Any attempts of smearing Hong Kong will not succeed, or will it shake the confidence of the international community in Hong Kong. The U.S. too needs to respect the sovereignty of China and the rule of law in Hong Kong, abide by the basic norms governing international relations and basic principles in international law, stop smearing the central government's policy on Hong Kong, and stop meddling in Hong Kong affairs, or stop smearing the successful practice of One China, one country, two systems. Next one, please.
白兰下午好，韩联社提问。
Yonhap News Agency. U.S. Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth said at the confirmation hearing that the DPRK is a nuclear power. The ROK, the U.S. and Japanese governments reaffirmed their non-recognition of labeling the DPRK as a nuclear power, and their policy of denuclearization in the DPRK remains unchanged. What's your comment on his remarks? China's basic position on the Korean Peninsula issue remains unchanged. We believe that keeping the peninsula peaceful and stable and advancing the political settlement of the peninsula issue serve the common interests of all parties, and hopes that all parties will make an effort to this end. Next one, please.
Question from AFP.
法新社，卢比奥国务卿后任候选人在听证会昨日时表示，中方是美方最为危险的敌人和对手。卢比奥同时表示，美国必须向中国展示，中国如果入侵台湾将会付出极为严重的代价。中方对于卢比奥的言论有何回应？
中国的发展
China's development has a clear historic logic and powerful intrinsic driving force. Our goal is very above board, that is, to make the life of our people better and make a greater contribution for the world. China always based on the principle proposed by President Xi Jinping, which is mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation to handle and view China-U.S. relations. At the same time, we firmly defend our sovereignty, security, and development interests. The U.S. needs to have a right perception of China and stop its groundless smears and attacks against China. Hong Kong is China's Hong Kong, and the Hong Kong question is purely China's internal affairs that brooks no external interference. The biggest challenge faced by cross-strait peace is Taiwan independence separatist activities and external interference and sabotage. What the U.S. needs to do is to abide by the One China principle and the three China-U.S. joint communiques, honor its commitment of not supporting Taiwan independence, stop conniving at or abetting Taiwan independent separatist forces, and stop interfering in China's internal affairs on the Taiwan question. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。澎湃新闻记者提问：据报道，台湾所谓外交部
The paper is reported that Taiwan's Foreign Minister Lin Chaolun will attend the inauguration of Palau's president. What's your comment on that? Taiwan is a province of China. There's no such thing as President or Foreign Ministry of Taiwan. There's only one China in the world, and Taiwan is an inalienable part of China. The One China principle is a basic norm governing international relations and a prevailing consensus in the international community. The DPP authorities' attempt of seeking Taiwan independence through foreign support and their secession attempt are doomed to fail. We also noted that while the DPP authorities are trying to consolidate its so-called diplomatic relations with other countries, friendly personages in countries such as Tuvalu, Palau, and the Marshall Islands expressed to us on multiple occasions their willingness of establishing or restoring normal diplomatic relations with China. China establishing or restoring diplomatic ties with these countries is where global opinion trends and the arc of history bends, and it's only a matter of time. Let me reiterate that it's never too late to make new friends, and China stands ready to open up new chapters for relations with these countries on the basis of the One China principle. Next one, please.
Question from AFP.
法新社，3位中国公民被判7年牢狱，主要是在刚果金的东部地区，他们涉嫌拥有大量的金条和现金，中方对此有何评论？
中国政府一贯要求
The Chinese government always asks Chinese citizens overseas and to abide by local laws and regulations. Our embassy in the Congo DRC has had communication with the country and will handle the case properly. We also hope that the Congo DRC can handle this case in accordance with the law and safeguard the lawful rights and interests of Chinese citizens concerned. Next one, please.
Question from Bloomberg.
彭博社，中国石化集团公司据报道和斯里兰卡达成协议，将建立一个炼油厂，并且协议高达37亿美元。中方对于这一协议有何评论？关于中斯之间的经济关系，中方有何评论？
中国和斯
China and Sri Lanka are strategic cooperative partners that render each other sincere help and enjoy everlasting friendship. President Xi Jinping in the Great Hall of the People met with the visiting president of Sri Lanka and held talks with him. President Xi Jinping during the talks pointed out that China and Sri Lanka are traditional friends. In the past 68 years, since our two countries established diplomatic ties, the relationship had sustained and sound development and set an fine example of mutual help between countries. With joint efforts, our two countries' strategic cooperative partnership featuring sincerity, mutual help, and everlasting have enjoyed further progress, with fruitful outcomes in a series of areas in our exchanges and cooperation, which has brought tangible benefits to our two peoples. As we speak, the bilateral relationship is at a critical stage of development. Our two sides need to seize this opportunity and build a community of China, Sri Lanka with a shared future. On the specifics of the cooperation, please stay tuned. Next one, please.
Another question from AF.
法新社，美国宣布将会继续实施出口限制，主要是发达的半导体，其中包括对于公司进行尽职调查。中方对此有何评论？
Could you repeat your question?
Sure. Question from AF.
法新社，美国昨日宣布将会进行出口限制，主要发达的半导体和芯片，并且会对公司进行尽职调查。中方对此有何评论？
针对近期拜登政
A series of attack and trade restrictions on China announced by the Biden administration, China's MOFCOM have made clear our position, and we've lodged a serious protest to them. The U.S. overstretches the concept of national security, politicizes and weaponizes tech and trade issues, and resorted to the big stick of sanctions, which has severely damaged the rising interests of companies around the world, including Chinese companies, and disrupted the stability of global industrial and supply chains and international trade order. Such practice undermined the common interests of companies around the world, including U.S. ones. This is typical bullyingism and hegemony. We firmly opposes it and deplores that. Let me stress that any sanctions and suppression against China will not stop China from gaining development. Any bullying acts will not shake our resolution of being independent and seeking strength. China will take resolute measures to firmly defend the lawful and legitimate rights and interests of Chinese companies and firmly defend its sovereignty, security, and development interests. Next one, please.
Bloomberg.
彭博社关于特朗普下周的就职典礼有何最新的信息？中方是否决定派出哪一位官员参加这一就职典礼？
我目前没有可以。
I have nothing to share at the moment.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
还有其他问题吗？
Anything else?
好，今天的。
Then let's call it a day. Thank you for coming.